right, today y'all are going over value. So this is our value worksheet. Value is the lightness and darkness of one color. So it's not like going from yellow to blue because yellow is light and blue is a little bit darker. This is one color, the light shades of it and the darker shades of it. All right, so you have your worksheet. Go ahead and start by putting your name on it. All right, and then this is our value bar, okay? Think about how we normally use the word value with money or math. So zero value means it's worth nothing. It has nothing, which means it has zero color, which is gonna look like white. 10 is gonna be full value, full color, as much saturation as you can get, which when you're using pencil or grayscale is gonna be pretty much black. You can start with either side, whichever side you want to start with. Again, this is going to be as light as you can get it, and this is going to be as dark as you can get it. I'm going to start on whichever side, and I'm going to start to fade it. And one thing that might help if you put a 5 in the middle, and that will tell you kind of like, okay, by the time I get to this point, it means I need to be coloring medium, normal, in the middle pressure. So again, start at the 10, work your way down, and you're gradually taking pressure off of your pencil. Okay, and think about what pressure means. Pressure is how hard or how soft you're pushing down on something. So now I'm at 5, so that's middle pressure. So this is how I would normally color. Okay, and now I know at this point I'm going all the way to 0, so I'm going all the way to light. So I really got to start taking some of that pressure off. And if you get to your 0 and you realize, oh, this is still really dark, you can just add on to your rectangle and make that part a little bit longer. So if you need to add on right there and keep going to fade it a little bit more, you can do that as well. All right, for the flower, you can use your pencil again, or you can use a colored pencil. All right, so when we're using value and we're looking at an object where it has things that are overlapping, means it has one item on top of another, like these petals are on top. So if something is blocking the light from the object below, you can kind of see this hand is casting this shadow on this hand. So we're going to have a little bit darker around those edges, and it fades out to light, kind of like our value bar up there. All right, so the top petals, nothing's really blocking them, but they would be pulled towards the center. So that middle part here is going to be a little bit darker, and then I'll fade a little bit lighter on the edges where the sun or the light is able to hit those. So darker in the middle, and then fade to light. All right, and then you've got the next set of petals, which these are being overlapped. So you're going to have shadow kind of around the border of the top petals, and from there it'll fade to your lighter color. And you'll do that all the way around. You can even do that last row. It's going to be the same thing, darker around that entire overlap border, and then fade it to the lighter color. All right, so when you're done with the whole flower, you can see it looks a little more three-dimensional. So adding value to any of your coloring that you do just really adds depth and dimension, and makes your artwork just look a little bit better, and a little more middle school and not so elementary school, which is what we're going for. All right, next thing we're going to do is the little birthday cake. So let's, again, you can do pencil or you can go with your colored pencils. Some of this is going to it's going to fade, and we're going to talk more about like this shape when we go over form, which is three-dimensional shapes, because this is basically a cylinder. But let's start with the base of the cake, whatever color you're using or your pencil. Let's start with the edges a little bit darker, and then I'm going to fade it to light in the middle. So I'm kind of got a little value bar right there. Went from dark to light. And then I'm going to go to the opposite side and do the same thing. I'm going to go from dark to light. So now I've kind of got like a shiny section there in the middle. All right. All right, so still working with this bottom section. I've got this icing which looks really thick sitting on top of this cake. So it's going to be overlapping and creating a shadow like it did with the flower. So right underneath the icing, make it a little bit darker around. And again, that'll help kind of make that icing looks like it's a little bit thicker too. All right. And then I'm going to color this whole top layer a little bit light, because that's where the light would be hitting it. Plus you've got those candles up there, adding even more light up above it. So that would be pretty light on top. All right, and then the sides, I'm gonna do basically what I did on the cake. A little bit darker on the edge, fade it to light in the middle, and start on the opposite side, dark, and then fade to light in the middle. All right, and then basically you've got like tiny versions on the candles. So if you can, dark, and then leave that very center part light. These are so skinny. I'm just coloring the outside edges and trying as best I can to leave a little tiny highlight there in the middle. But if that's too difficult and you ended up just coloring the whole thing like I just did with that one, that's fine because it's very small. All right, and then just for fun, I'm going to fill in those candles just so that my coloring is complete. I don't want to leave it unfinished. All right, so with this one, this looks pretty crazy. It's not like some kind of normal shape that we see all the time or anything like that. But you're going to end up doing a cubism project. And I just want to go over it quickly before you do that project and go over how you're going to do it exactly. All right, so basically for cubism, anytime you hit a new line, you start your value over. Okay, and it doesn't always have to go in the same direction. So say I've got this little section here, okay, not the entire triangle, just this one little section. So it's all divided up, split up between the rectangle, split up between the circle. And I'm going to start with wherever I want. I can start in any of the corners on the side. I'm going to start out dark and fade it to light. Okay, and I switch colors. I'm going to get to this section. Again, I can start it from wherever. I'm going to go dark and fade it to light. Okay, and you can basically just do this going all the way around the entire shapes, but that's how that'll work. So it's really a lot of value practice and dividing up just how you're going to do all your different colors. All right, so you'll do every section for that. Okay, so that was value. Remember, lightness and darkness of one color. So like here I've got red, dark, and light, all of red. Not, I've got some dark colors here, some light colors here, even lighter. Okay, so one color, the darkness and lightness of that color.